Welcome back to this week's Witnessing Tip. We're so glad you're joining us. And this week we're talking about a common frustration that Christians experience.
Okay.
What do you say when Mormons say they're Christians just like us?
Yeah, very, very common. Probably many of you have had that experience. And I think the first thing I want to say is that when our LDS friends say this, they are not saying it deceptively. They truly believe it.
Right.
They really do believe that they're Christians like us. And part of the problem is they don't really know what Christianity stands for. But don't ever sit there and say, well, they're just trying to be deceptive to me. That's usually not the case.
Right. Yeah. I'm sure a big reason for this probably is the terminology differences, right? We just end up talking past each other. Yeah.
Right. But there's other reasons as well. And over the years, I've tried various approaches and failed often. I have discovered that when they say that I'm a Christian like you, and I respond by, no, you aren't, that's probably not the best response.
No, it probably wouldn't be very productive now, would it?
Talk about building a barrier rather than a bridge, right?
That is a what not to do.
Yeah, that's a what not to do.
Yeah.
But what I have found in the last few years, I think we Christians, as soon as we hear that, we want to say no, But what I have found that really has worked quite well is when they say that, I accepted that face value. I say, wow, I'm really happy to hear that. And then I say, but I just want to be sure that you understand what I understand when you say that, And I want to say, just so you know, when you say you're a Christian like me, that means because I'm a Christian who believes that Jesus absolutely did everything for me. I don't have to do a thing, that I don't have to go to the temple, and you can list various things, but I don't have to do any of this. That's being a Christian like me. And usually when I do that, they will say, well, that's not exactly what we mean. And that's a very important point, because even then, already you're planting the idea, you know what, our beliefs are different. And that is so important.
Do they ever respond angrily?
Angrily is, no, I really can honestly say they haven't. I do think a lot of it is the tone you use.
Right.
And I always say a lot of times when I'm asking a LDS member a question or making a comment, I kind of do it, either figuratively or maybe even sometimes literally, kind of scratching my head. I'm just puzzled a little bit. And then you say, well, I'm glad to hear that you say you're a Christian, but I just want to make clear, I just want to be sure we're on the same page.
Do you define it the same way that I do?
Yeah. And usually when I do that, they are never angry, and they are often, oh, I didn't know that, Yeah. So no, I think, again, your tone of voice is just so important.
Yeah. So like we said, this is a really common situation that comes up, and so common, in fact, that we have made it a part of our witnessing scenarios.
Right.
On our educational website, witnessinlove.org. So if you go on there and register, you will have access to all of these witnessing scenarios, including this one and other common ones that come up.
Right.
Helping equip you as you reach out in love.
And as we do this, if you ever have any questions like, how to respond, please, send them in, because this really helps us to say, what do you need help in?
Yeah, and most likely, if you have a question, somebody else has the same question.
Exactly.
So, right. Yep. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.